back with the United Jazz Academy, and today we're going to talk about chord structures all the way from the root to the 31st. Let's go. Now, our chord structures, we're going to deal with a major harmony, okay? Now, this is our 31 intervals over 4 octaves, okay? Now, you're never going to see like a C major 31st, but I'm just going to explain to you the harmonic system, okay, and hear it, okay? So, in our system, you have the root, the 3rd, the 5th, the 7th, the 9th, the sharp 11th, or the 11th, the 13th, the 15th, 17th, 19th, 21st, 23rd, 25th, 27th, 29th, 31st. Okay? So that is it. Okay, so you're going to talk about the root. A root, in any chord, roots don't change. So when I'm playing C major 7, that's the root of that chord. It can change in a half a second. It can change in 4 bars. Root represents that harmony in that particular moment in space and time, right? So if it's the root of the chord is the root, and it doesn't change, so our root is on the bottom, right? Now you also have what they call a dyad. A dyad is a two notes of harmony put together, right? So, you usually don't think of a dyad as a chord because it's only 2 notes, because a chord is usually thought of at least a triad. But you can have a dyad of the root and the 7th, or you can have a shell of a chord. You might have a shell of a chord, which is like the root and the 7th. If I don't play the 3rd, it's ambiguous. You don't know if it's a minor major 7th or a major 7th, right? Major 7th, because the 3rd's going to determine the quality of the chord. So sometimes you might have a dyad. It might be, you could say it's I play the root and the 3rd, the root and the 10th, right? You hear piano players play the root and the 10th, right? And you might even play, so it's going to determine that that's a major. If I do a minor, then it's a root 3rd. But that's just a 2-note, 2-note chord. Sometimes used as a shell. You say it's a shell of a chord, These are technical terms, man, okay? So the dyad is a chord or harmony composed of just 2 notes, you see? So, traditionally it's not looked at as a chord because we think of a chord as a triad, right? So our triad, our major triad, everyone knows, is the root, the 3rd, and the 5th. You dig? All right, so that's our triad, right? And it's the root and 3rd and 5th degrees of our 7-note scale, right? So then we have the 7th chord, and the 7th chord is the most, that's the one you're going to see all the time, and all the alterations are going to be stacked on top of like C minor 7, 11, C7, sharp 9, that type of thing, because the 7th chord denotes a 4-note harmonic structure consisting of the root, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th degree. So that's our 7th degree. Right? Okay. Now, let's move on. Now, like I said, most of your chords are going to be, and music notation is going to be 7. You're going to see C7, C minor 7, C dominant 7, C diminished 7. Usually that's where they notate the general music. But to know all of the harmonic series, let's go on to the 9th. All right? So, the 9th degree is the same as the 2nd degree of the scale. So let's go down an octave. That's the 9th. So that's our C major 9th chord, right? Okay, that's the 9th degree. Now the 11th degree. The 11th degree is the same as the 4th degree, the sharp 4th degree of the scale, right? Then we have the 13th. The 13th is the same as the 6th degree of the scale, right? The 15th. Now the 15th is the same as the flat 9th, right? That interval, right? The 15th degree. And if you notice, now we have a C major 7 with a D major 7th stacked on top of each other, right? And so that 15th degree is that flat ninth. So let's keep moving on to the 17th. The 17th degree is the same as the 3rd. So the 7th degree, now we got to really stretch, right, to reach it all, right? All right, so now we're at the 17th degree, which is the same as the 3rd. See, they double, okay, but we'll talk about that later, okay? But just watch. 19th. The 19th degree is the same as the sharp 5 or the flat 5, okay? You see that, okay? That is the 19th degree, all right, technically, right? Or the sharp 5, right? The 21st, okay? Now I'm gonna have to go down an octave in a minute, okay? All right, so here we go. 9th. 21st. The 21st is the same as the 7th, if you notice, right? It's the B. It's the same as the 7th degree of that C major scale. Okay, remember C is the root. So that's the 7th degree, and it's also the 21st, okay? Now, the 23rd degree, okay, is going to go here. Is the same as the flat 3rd. So that's the 23rd degree. Okay, it's the flat 3rd, the E flat. Okay. Now if you notice, now I've got an E major 7 on top of that same C major root. D major, and now we've got E major on top of it. Okay, you see that, right? And we're all the way at the 23rd. Now I'm going to have to move down an octave to get to the 25th. The 25th degree is the same as the flat 5. Okay, so let's go start down here, right? So root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th, 15th, 17th, 19th, 21st, 23rd, 25th. 25th is the same as that flat 5 or the sharp 11th, you know, all right? This aliases, man. There's only 12 notes in music. All right, the 27th degree is the 7th, or you could also known as the flat 7th, right? But way up there, the upper partials, way up. That's the 27th, right? Now the 29th degree. The 29th degree is going to be same as the flat 2 or the 15th, right? Remember? So it's way up here, right? So now we're going to start here, right? We're going to count all the way up to 29. And the last is the 31st, all right? 3 and a 1. 31st is going to take us to the 4th degree, and there finally we hit the natural 4th of this series. All right, so let's go from the bottom again. All right, root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 11th, 13th, 15th, 17th, 19th, 21, 23, 25, 27, 29, 31. Isn't that something? So that is actually, if you notice it, we've got 4 major 7th chords stacked, right? So on top of that C major 7th, right, we've also have a D major 7th. We also have an E major 7th. And we also have a G flat major 7th. You notice that, you see that, right? Because they're stacked, right? C major 7th, then D major 7th, and then the E major 7th,